Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast, where we explore the mindset, skill set, and habit set of leadership communication. Using these tips, techniques, and tactics, you'll be able to talk like a leader to build better relationships and get more done. Your host is Guy Harris, who has more than 20 years of combined professional and military experience in consulting, coaching, and training in areas like team and interaction dynamics, communication strategies and tactics, as well as emotional intelligence. Take it away, Guy.
Hi, this is Guy Harris. Welcome to Talk Like a Leader. This week's episode is titled Experience Can Numb You to the Struggles of Others. And as I said last week, this is the second of two lessons I learned in an interchange with my grandchildren. And in case you haven't heard last week's episode, I'll give you a quick synopsis of the experience. You can go listen to last week's episode to get the lesson. But the basic experience was that my grandchildren were trying to watch a TV show at my house. There was an internet upset. It caused a delay. And to them, it was a crisis. They were upset. They were frustrated, waiting the 2 or 3 or maybe it was 4 minutes. I know it wasn't a terribly long time for me to get the Wi-Fi router restarted and get the streaming service re-going. Seemed like an eternity to them. And in that waiting period, they were frustrated and impatient. I thought it was kind of funny. And the reason I thought it was kind of funny is because from where I sit, as a grandparent with significantly more years of experience on this planet than they have, with dealing with those sorts of things significantly more times than they have, with a totally different viewpoint about time, about whether this TV show was even important or not, so many things on my mind that aren't on their mind because of my experience. It just didn't seem like that big a deal to me. And that's actually the second learning point from this experience, in that sometimes your experience, your knowledge, your perspective, the things you've been through, the struggles you've overcome, while they might help you identify with the struggles of others, they can also numb you to the struggles of others. They can become the framework through which you view the other person's struggle, and you either subtly or overtly minimize rather than appreciate the struggle they're experiencing. Now, I frankly think there's a very clear line between understanding the struggle the person's going through and appreciating that for them it is a struggle, and also calling it a big deal is two different things. I can see the struggle my grandchildren are experiencing, honor and respect the fact that for them it is a struggle, and at the same time hold on to the idea that this really isn't that big a deal. I think the problem comes from a leadership perspective when we take the "this isn't really that big a deal" perspective or attitude and then minimize the experience the other person is having. A few weeks ago, I recorded an episode titled "Get on Their Side of the Table." And this experience gap, or this experience numbing to the struggles of others, can become a barrier to getting on the side of the table with the other person. So as you grow in your leadership journey, as you go through more and more things, as you learn more and more and get a broader and bigger and possibly higher or bigger picture perspective on things, and things that at one time were a major struggle to you become a non-issue for you, try to remember that when other people run into that same thing that is not a big deal to you anymore, when they run into it for the first time or maybe the second time, it might still be a big deal for them. And as you engage with them, be careful that you don't let your experience minimize theirs or numb you to the pain or struggle or frustration that they're experiencing. I don't think you have to, as a mentor of mine said, get in the mud and wallow with the hogs. You can understand that the mud makes you dirty. You can recognize that the hogs are wallowing in the mud for some reason, and whether you understand the reason or not, they're wallowing in the mud. or whether my grandkids really have a struggle because there's a few minute delay in their TV show, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big a deal. For them, it's a big deal. And I can honor that without encouraging it. I can use my experience to help them gain some perspective without being patronizing or minimizing. It's a bit of a struggle. I don't know that I have a magic formula for you to tell you exactly how to do that. I'm just sharing with you an experience I had recently that reminded me how easy it is to drift into ignoring, minimizing, patronizing, condescending when other people have a struggle that is no longer a struggle to you, or that you frankly don't see as a struggle because of your experience. If we really want to get on their side of the table, we have to develop the empathy and understanding to be able to see and honor and appreciate the struggle or frustration the person's going through, even if we don't have the feeling or the perspective that it's that big a deal. We have to be careful not to minimize what other people are struggling with as we help them to overcome it. So remember, in your leadership journey, as you learn and grow and develop and get bigger, deeper, broader perspective, higher level view of things, that perspective you gain, while it helps you to confront issues without seeing them as a big deal, might cause you to minimize the struggle other people go through and engage with them in a way that causes them to disconnect because they get the feeling you simply don't care about them. Remember that experience can numb you to the struggles of others. Beware of this tendency. Watch out for it and how you communicate with the members of your team or people, particularly people less experienced or less knowledgeable about a situation than you are. If you can do that, maintain the tension between keeping the issue a small deal so you can deal with it without getting stressed out, and understanding that it is an issue that stresses other people out, you can talk like a leader. This has been the Talk Like a Leader podcast. You can listen to this show every week wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Guy Harris, and thanks for listening.